I beg leave to ask the question standing in my name on the order paper.
I call the Minister. Baroness Goldie.
My Lords, the Ministry of Defence notes the content of the report. The Department holds no reports on unidentified aerial phenomena, but constantly monitors UK airspace to identify and respond to any credible threat to its integrity, and is confident in the existing measures in place to protect it.
Lord Sarfraz.
My Lords, for decades, people who have been concerned with UFOs have been dismissed as fantasists. But now the US Director of National Intelligence, who oversees 17 intelligence agencies, has published a report saying the data on UFOs is inconclusive. The report offers several possible explanations and does not rule out that these could be military aircraft with very advanced capabilities or even extraterrestrial phenomena. Either way, can my noble friend the Minister reassure members of the public that the Ministry of Defence takes reports of unidentified objects in our airspace very seriously, and will she consider publishing a detailed assessment of the data we hold?
What I would say to my noble friend is that the MOD deals with actual threats substantiated by evidence, and the government continues to take any potential threat to the UK seriously. The Integrated Review and the Defence White Command paper published in March set out the MOD's assessment of the threats we face and how we will meet them.
Thank you, Ridley.
My Lords, unidentified does not mean suspicious. And does my noble friend the Minister recognise that the US report referred to says there is no clear indication that there is any non-terrestrial explanation for the 144 sightings that it specifies? And the idea that in an era of mobile phone cameras, drones and frequent travel, there could possibly be alien spaceships whizzing about undetected in our atmosphere on a regular basis is not, I think, very plausible. It's much more likely that these blurred images have boring explanations, alas. Does my noble friend agree?
I think the important point, on which I wish to reassure your Lordships, is that the UK air defence community detect and monitor all flying air systems 24 hours a day to provide an identified air picture as part of the UK's national security posture and our commitment to the integrity of NATO airspace. Now, that is supported by Typhoon aircraft at RAF Lossiemouth and RAF Coningsby. They're held at high readiness, ready to intercept any threat to UK airspace.
Lord Brown of Ladyton.
In 2008, the MOD began the process of releasing all the UFO files. And in 2009, Sir Bob Ainsworth, as Secretary of State, accepted advice, which I read short, that in more than 50 years, no UFO sighting has indicated the existence of any military threat to the UK. There is no defence benefit in recording, collating, analysing or investigating UFO sightings, and the level of resources devoted to this task is diverting staff from more valuable defence-related activities, and he closed the relevant unit. Does the US report reveal any evidence or contain any reason to review that advice?
I'd simply say to the noble Lord and seek to reassure him that, as I've indicated, we deal with actual threats substantiated by evidence. He's quite right about the closure of the UFO desk in 2009. I can confirm the Department holds no reports on unidentified aerial phenomena, and all relevant material created and held by the UFO desk has been passed to the National Archives.
Lord Holmes of Richmond.
My Lords, turning to identifiable flying objects, would my noble friend agree that the UK has a tremendous opportunity to develop its new space industry, not least in low Earth orbit, in terms of the build, development, launch, operation, recovery, rebuild of small satellites for both positive purpose, defence and civil opportunities?
My noble friend makes a very important point with which I entirely agree, and that is clearly an area of exciting and future development for the UK Government.
Okay.
Can I say to the Minister, given the subject, it's very reassuring to see her here physically and not beamed in. So, the Pentagon have said that unidentified aerial phenomena are actually a serious national security threat. So notwithstanding what she's just said, does she agree with that US analysis, the Pentagon's analysis of the threat from unidentified aerial phenomena? And therefore, is the UK suffering from a similar threat that the US has itself identified. And given that the MOD has abandoned the UFO desk in 2009, where are such sightings to be reported and who to? The truth is out there, Minister, and hopefully it will be in your answer as well.
Well, I've never testified veracity to this chamber on all occasions, and what I would say to the noble lord is, again, the underlying important point is the security of our air space, and I've already indicated how we address that potential threat and how we are well sustained and well provided to deal with any such potential threat. But we regard threats as having to exist in the first place. We regard them as having to be substantiated by evidence, and that's because we need to know what it is we are addressing and how best we can address it. We, of course, are aware of the US assessment. I would just say to the noble lord that the MOD has no plans to conduct its own report into UAP, because in over 50 years no such reporting had indicated the existence of any military threat to the United Kingdom.
Landis Wilcox of Newport.
The recent report from the United States Task Force dedicated to investigating UFOs has neither confirmed nor rejected the ideas that such sightings could indicate alien visits to Earth. I believe that Cardiff Bay is the alleged location of the Torchwood Institute, set up to deal with incidents of extraterrestrials, and indeed the Yanto Jones Shrine forms part of the tourist trail at Mermaid Quay. So 7 decades after unidentified aerial phenomena first appeared on the radar, defence ministries around the world ought to know what they are. The recent report doesn't require us to accept the reality of alien visitation, but it does require us to take UFOs seriously. Therefore, how seriously does Her Majesty's Government now take UFOs in the light of this report?
I refer the noble lady to my previous answers, to which the short response is very seriously. Identifiable and can be substantiated.
Is the Minister aware of the role of one of the largest single-dish telescopes in the Southern Hemisphere in Parkes, New South Wales, the place of my birth, played in transmitting the TV footage of the Apollo 11 moon landing, and more recently in tracking NASA's Curiosity rover during its descent over the surface of Mars in 2012? And might it be of assistance to the government in helping to monitor and assess any unidentified sightings?
I would say to my noble friend that the MOD, and particularly our air defence community, has both sophisticated electronic surveillance, and I myself has witnessed how this operates when I visited RAF Coningsby. And then there is the added support of visual identification, if that is thought to be necessary, by alerting a rapid reaction from our typhoons. They are able to take on a visual inspection if there is any doubt about the nature or character of an alleged threat.
Lord Brogan.
My Lord, I welcome the opportunity to read the report and the frankness with which it is written. Can I ask the noble Lord the Minister, has its contents yet been raised by Her Majesty's Government with representatives of the United States Government? The Minister has said that Her Majesty's Government have no reports on this matter. But given the interest it has generated around the world, and indeed perhaps other worlds, does Her Majesty's Government now have plans to produce a similar document summarising any recent UAP or UFO sightings within UK borders and overseas territories?
Well, as I indicated earlier, we have no opinion on the existence of extraterrestrial life, and we no longer investigate reports of sightings of unidentified aerial phenomena. And we have no plans to conduct our own report into UAP, because in over 50 years no such reporting has indicated the existence of any military threat to the UK.
My Lords, all supplementary questions have been asked. My Lords, we now come to